But I would like to bring to the stage now Jason to introduce our keynote and get us moving. Thank you. We're twins. We're twins, right? This is a photo moment. Where's the photographer? This is a photo. Get your cameras out. Photo moment.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. My name is Jason Green, and I am here to introduce our keynote. Before I introduce the keynote, I just want to ask the question, how are we feeling right now? I am feeling very full and elated and very excited about all the conversations that we have had thus far. Shay just was talking about how she ended up here and how she wasn't going to be here long. I ended up here because I'm also married to a white boy. And I remember coming home one day after my first snowstorm, and there was only 3 inches of snow. But I'm from Alabama, and I slammed the door shut, and I said, I would not be here more than 5 years. And here I am almost 10 years later. As we get ready to bring up our keynote, it's such a full circle moment as I'm reading his bio, because as the panel was here this morning, one of the questions that came through the Zoom was a question about, was an individual with a biracial identity? And then again, Shay made the comment about any black person who is a descendant of slaves probably has some biracial identity because of the way the slaves are treated on plantations. And then when I read the book that this individual wrote, I'm like, it is such a perfect moment to have this individual in this room delivering this keynote as we're talking about the State of the Union. And the State of the Union for us right now is not great, folks. I serve as the Deputy Director for the ACLU of New Hampshire, and I will tell you, things are not great. We are rolling back the clock on immigration. We have a state that may be trying to bring back the death penalty. We are rolling back the clock on the rights of LGBTQ folks. The State of the Union is very troubling for us right now. But as I look around this room of amazing people and I hear this conversation that's happening, there is some hope. Let me pull up in the bio of this individual that I'm very excited to introduce. Shannon LaNier is not only an actor, but also an Emmy Award-winning TV host and news anchor for the national syndicated Cheddar News and News 12. Shannon is also a writer, having co-authored the book Jefferson's Children, The Story of One American Family, with photojournalist Jane Feldman. The book follows his journey to uncover the history of his 9th generational lineage, tracing his descent from President Thomas Jefferson and his slave, Sally Jennings. As a familyhood and father influencer under the handle Mr. Shannon LaNier on social media, he has nearly 1 million followers. Please welcome me with applause as we bring to the stage our keynote speaker, Shannon LaNier. You want to stand here or take the mic?
Hey, I like that. How y'all doing today? Oh, thank you. Thank you. Got a style, you know. Okay. Now I can't be the only one dancing now. I need to see y'all give me some, give me something. Come on, where you at? Where you at? There we go, there we go. Oh, okay. More rhythm in the room than I thought. We good. All right, come on. All right, thank you so much for that. We appreciate it. I hope you guys are ready for something special because you are in store for a great treat. We have someone here that we're going to have a fireside chat conversation with who is dynamic. She is just one of those people you hit follow as soon as you see one of her first pieces of content. So we're going to get to it, and we're going to get to this conversation, and we'll have time at the end for a few questions from our audience. So we're going to be bringing to the stage a 3-time NAACP Image Award nominee who is an influencer and entrepreneur. Now, for the past 5 years, she has meticulously crafted her brand around the powerful mantra of, we're going to be keeping it black, but keeping it brief. Have y'all seen those? This is a woman who I've never say so much by just drinking a cup of tea. So much in that one sip as you can get. But her philosophy guides her in delivering critical context on today's most pressing issues in a manner that's both succinct and highly stylized as well. Now, her unique approach has earned her significant recognition, including multiple publications where she's been highlighted in, as well as she's coveted the spot of TikTok's first ever visionary voice list. She is an outstanding, phenomenal woman who's coming to the stage to break it down for you. Please put your hands together for Lynae, Vanee. Hey! Makes me shout. Hey, hey, hey. We got our tea up here. We ready. Let me see. I don't know. Did y'all put some sugar or honey in here? I don't know. Okay. No, it's not sweet at all. We're going to leave that right there. But, all right. She said it was good. I don't know. For me, I just feel like half of the time tea just feels like dirty water. Like
I'm enjoying it. This is good.
Flavored water. I was in London recently, and I was like, okay, I still need some honey in my tea. I don't know. Okay, you like that?
That is good. You know what you're talking about.
Now, y'all talked about my followers. She has almost 2 million followers across social media. So she has a voice who is influencing so many people. But you went to Spelman College, and you got a master. Hey. And she also got a master's right up in here in this area at Boston University. But when you were in school, did you ever think this was going to be your life?
Absolutely not. And it's so funny. Please, phones off. Thank you.
Right.
JK. Is that your phone?
Not me. No, I knew better.
But it's so funny that you say that, because I think every step of my education, I was told what I likely wouldn't be able to do with what I wanted to do. So first, the choice to go to Spelman, a lot of even my black women teachers advised me to have backup options because I likely wouldn't get in or likely wouldn't get enough funding to go. And I got a full scholarship, praise God. And then I went to school for psychology just because I was passionate about the subject and really wanted to understand people and how to communicate with people. And through that, I was expected to go get a graduate degree in psychology because you don't make much with a BA in psych. But I also didn't want to therapize anybody, to be honest. I didn't want to do neurology, anything like that. And so people just didn't know what to do with me. And I remember, I was like, oh, I really love black people, and I love black history. So I applied for the master's program, and once again, that was something that I was told I was going to have to go all the way to make something of myself because people didn't appreciate degrees in that field. And something told me not to do it. Something told me to go home. I'm not sure what would have advised me to go make $39,000 a year as a public school teacher in a rural county in Georgia, but that's what I did, and working with those kids prepared me for 2020 and just being at home and like figuring out how to connect with people with the things that I was super passionate about, because I would say before then, when it comes to Black history and learning about it and understanding it, I think most people receive it as they might receive somebody telling them about their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And that it's like kind of preachy, it feels condescending, it feels super like sacred, but I wanted to have fun with it, and I wanted to just have a good time, and I wanted to invite people to the table, not necessarily set the table for other people because I'm speaking to my own, but practice irreverence enough to make the conversation accessible. So I say all that to say, no, nobody would have ever thought this would be the thing that I'm doing.
And if you haven't seen her content before, I first tuned into Parking Lot Pimpin', where she sits in the parking lot or on a rooftop and she's telling you topics about today. She's breaking down things that are happening in our society today, but she puts facts behind it. She puts history behind it. She's teaching you about all these things also. It's not just she's up there complaining and she's talking about an issue. She is educating us and breaking it down, because a lot of times we're trying to figure out what's true and what's not. Well, she has the background to prove it also. She has the degrees to prove it also. So my content's a little bit different. I'm a fatherhood family influencer, and I just like to have fun and be silly, but I'm teaching also on my page, but in a different way. So when you were coming up with this idea, this persona, how did you go about creating what it ends up being now? Because when I was creating my content, and people always ask me, hey, how did you or how do you? But I had to define what was organic to my life. And as a news anchor and a father, I joined both of those worlds together. So one of the skits that I do is called The News Anchor Dad, where I'm talking to my kids in my news anchor voice, like, this just in. And then I, talk about them and their behavior or something crazy that they've done. So, but it took me some trial and error to figure out what my page was gonna be. So how did you come up with what your page was gonna be?
I don't think I tried to create a persona. I just kind of wanted to do something, and I think what you said, whatever's organic to your life makes the most sense. It's the easiest thing to do, and it's the easiest thing to be consistent with. I think really just the only trial and error I did was figuring out the model. I understood there was an audience and an appetite for what I wanted to give, but how do I package it in a way that makes people like sit and listen? And so that's how I came up with the tagline, and I didn't do too much thinking about that either. I said, how to let people know that I'm gonna be here for a good time but not a long time. And then I said, well, I'm gonna keep it black, I'm gonna keep it brief. So, people would stay to the end, yeah.
And so do you now feel a responsibility as an influencer, because people are tuning into social media to get their news, to get, their education, to get so much. So it's not like you're just on there just to be on there. You're on there with purpose. Do you feel a great responsibility as a social media influencer, content creator?
I absolutely do. And I will say when I first started, it was just about history. It was just about these little known facts that were super inspiring to me that kind of revealed that a lot of the ways that we tried to put walls and parameters around and within society were wrong or just, ill-informed. And I wanted to communicate a message of inclusion in the best way that I could. And being from the South, having been reared up in the Bible Belt, there's a lot of things that we were, I want to say indoctrinated to believe were just like wrong. And those beliefs really prevent us from communing. As a community, it prevents us. Sorry, the question really threw me off guard because I've been thinking a lot about this lately. I'm just gonna have to say, I'm trying to clean it up and make it cute, but I can't make it. White people really did a number on us. Yeah. Colonialism and how Christian nationalism thrown on the faith really did a number on us. The way they wrote about African peoples on the continent and demonizing their indigenous and traditional religious practices, the demonizing of homosexuality and transgenderness and all these other things severely did a number on us. And so when I first started, my goals were to talk about these sort of taboo subjects that just broke my entire perspective wide open about the power that we could have if we just understood that these people are people just like us. And more often than not are the reasons we're sitting here at these tables together, we just never said their names. So with that said, the more that I wanted to do that, I still wanted to reach a larger audience. And so I started figuring out how to attach what's going on in the headlines or in pop culture to this historical moment and tie the receipt to the moment to make it feel hip, in the now, whatever. And like I said, build that audience. But as the headlines got worser and worser and worser, I was like, oh, now I have to talk about politics, something that I thought I never would have wanted to. But if the mission of my content was to empower Black people, was to give them vocabulary, to give them their own receipts to carry to the work meeting or whatever when they're being called irrational or too passionate or quick to anger, or even into their homes when, parents don't want to really address the issues going on in the home or with other family members. If I'm doing all these things, what's going on politically has to be included in that, because our identity politics are what affect our everyday lives. They're what affects our family structures, our units, what goes on in the homes, in classrooms, and how our children are treated, how mothers are treated in the hospitals, and all these things. It's all connected. So I began to feel even more and more compelled to educate myself and understand it myself before sharing it with people, because even before that moment, I always took my audience seriously, because so many people get on the internet and say anything. They don't research, and even if they were well researched, there is so much more satisfaction for some of these people to exist in echo chambers or to just jump on to these thought patterns or ideologies that brew and kick up hate, because it's easy to monetize those things and get support for those things. So I just try to make sure that I, number one, know what I'm talking about and give people the best information possible, because I'm always going to be on the side of truth, and that just happens to be on my side as well. So
Whatever the truth is.
whatever the truth is.
Right. I love that. And I guess I kind of ran the other way because as a news anchor, I just got so tired of all the doom and gloom and all the sad stuff, and this person died and this fire and this shooting and the politics. And so I wanted to create an outlet where people could have some levity and some escapism from the world. And so I created a page where you can come and laugh. People tell me all the time, when I'm having a bad day, I just come to your page to laugh or just, smile with you and your family. But also hidden in that message of laughter is a very active father. Because I got tired of the statistic that there's deadbeat dads, and they usually get deadbeat black dads. And the statistics have showed that black fathers are more active and productive in their children's lives than their counterparts. So I felt like that needed to be highlighted, and to prove and show people that I'm not a unicorn. Like, people would see me out at the grocery store like, you got all 3 of your kids with you by yourself? Where's your wife? I'm like, I can handle it. I'm a father. Yeah, another dad in the back. Yeah, I was like, I'm a dad. I can handle it. So I wanted to highlight that, and highlight that there are dads out here doing the job 365 days of the year, but I kind of wrap that in the disguise of a fun, silly page where we're having a good time.
And that's good, too. You always got to, what is it? The medicine and the sugar? Candy? Something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Medicine and sugar.
Yeah.
They all go down.
You attract more flies with honeys, bees.
Yeah, exactly.
But no, I think that's, we were talking about that backstage. I think all of that's a part of it. Everybody has an opportunity, whether it's representation or whether it's just using whatever avenue that you have to offer some sort of help or empowerment or education offering to people. So, and I think we all need it. I think, my content is super political on its face, but you watch my videos to laugh. You watch my videos to get some sort of insight or analysis that comes from an area that, like I said, that irreverence, we don't have to be so stuffy and uptight about it, but sometimes people just want to laugh. And the reality is all of it can coexist, and all of it is necessary for us to have balance. Yeah. When we talk about the Harlem Renaissance, we're not just talking about W.B. Du Bois, we're also talking about Langston Hughes, we're also talking about Zora Neale Hurston, we're also talking about the Cotton Clubs. So entertainment, I just hate when people have the conversation people are losing this, that, and the other. We don't want to see this. We can be making sure that people are getting the messages that people are losing SNAP, EBT, benefits, and all these things, and also making sure we're taking care of one another's mental health by offering some means of escape and communal reprieve. So I don't think that anybody's content is more frivolous than the other if it is benefiting the whole health of the community.
Very good point. So as a former teacher, I'm just curious how you feel, and an educator now. I mean, you're still educating folks. I'm just saying, how do you feel about the current dynamic of this country where they're misinforming everybody? They're taking the history out. They're rewriting history and trying to take out so much of the truth from what we should have been teaching. And the same reason you wanted to go out and teach these things, and now they're trying to take it away.
It's frustrating. I think two ways about it. On the one end, it's obviously frustrating. It can be frightening, but I'm not scared, and I'll tell you why in 2 seconds. It's frustrating because, how do I want to explain this? Have you ever heard someone say, I'm an alpha male? Irritating, frustrating. And I think the underlying irritation and frustration is if you were an alpha male, you probably wouldn't be announcing it, right? And that's how I feel about these people who spread misinformation. They're people who don't really have the confidence that they pretend to do, but also they're loud because they're small. And our algorithms would trick us into believing that these groups are much larger than they are, or even the way, you know, a certain election may have gone, that these groups are actually bigger than us, but the reality is that they're not. And also, by the way things have gone, a certain base is also turning on the party, you know? So I say all these things to say is that, to get on the bright side of it, I think the misinformation at this point is obvious. And there are people who just want to commit to the bit for the sake of potentially benefiting from the power structure that is thriving off that misinformation. But so many more of us see it clear as day and are being activated to combat it in our daily lives and with our children. So there's just such more intentional effort in making sure people get the right information, making sure full and complete histories are taught, making sure children get supplemented in and out of school. Like, I can't speak for teachers in specific areas like Florida and what they might be doing to combat this kind of thing, but I see a lot of optimism in this moment because it's requiring us to be much more autonomous in our political education and our recognition of what, like, historical patterns and things like that. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think the people who are loud on the internet are not as effective as they would like us to believe. And then I also believe, given this onslaught of misinformation and hate and all these things, people are taking it upon themselves to resist.
And it just brings me back to my journalistic background of saying, research, people, look it up yourselves. If even if you think it's true, look it up.
Yeah.
Find 3 sources that back up this information to prove, because now with AI and everything else, you don't know what's true and what's not. So
and you make a great point, because sometimes headlines are they're believable to us, and bias exists, and some bias exists on the side of right, but even so, there are some things that we are quick to be like, oh my God, like, and spread it quickly because we want people to be informed, but you have to double check and just make sure. I think most recently, actually, they said I could say what I want. Anyway.
Go for it, you got this.
So most recently with I don't even know what to call it, but when Charlie Kirk was murdered, after that, there was this proliferation of conversation about threats being sent to HBCUs. And so I saw someone that I would look to for like news updates post that there was an active shooter on Norfolk State's campus at that moment. Looked it up. No reporting on it. And so I think it's something that they heard and was concerned, just picked up and ran with it, but you cannot do that. Like,
surprisingly, actual news outlets are doing the same thing, just running with the information, we'll fix it later if it's wrong, and not fact checking it like they would have 25 years ago.
Yeah, and fixing it later is so hard now, because when people see, like, even people who watch my content, they have to come back to my page sometimes to see the next thing that I post, because I might not pop up in their algorithm. So it's just so much harder to clean up messes once you started. And that's also why I've got a bunch of colleagues that do the same type of work that I do, and we all have different posting schedules or just posting habits. I will post once a week. I will pick something that I can research heavily and then talk about that thing, because I'd much rather give you quality information than give you a bunch of quantity and have to do any sort of retractions or anything like that. I'll always say when I'm wrong, but I try my best not to be. I'm also a Capricorn, so there's that.
Right, that part. Well, you know, I was looking yesterday, because y'all, she's been busy, y'all. She has a new TV show that she's been doing, Revolt. So make sure you check her out on Revolt. But that's been keeping you busy, so
It's free.
It's free, right? Amen. So I do want you to tell us about that briefly. But that's been keeping you from being able to be as active on social media, right?
Yeah, it is. It's a difficult balance, but I'm really grateful for it. And it's one of the things you have to decide just how you move over time, because if we're also being honest, I was doing that for 5 years. And so I could reward myself with doing something different. Right. But I do believe the parking lot is just like a powerful and necessary tool. And I've always said, if something crazy happens, I'll get in the parking lot. And that's actually how I think I went viral the first time. I was on a break. I would take the holidays through my birthday off. But then that Capitol riot happened. So then I had to get in my chair and then cuss them people out for the Capitol riot. And I think that's how all of you know me here today. So I'll always go back, but I am just trying to juggle it because I'm not just starring on the show, I'm writing and producing on the show, executive producing. I'm very grateful to have that sort of power and influence and in collaboration with the CEO of Revolt. Beautiful experience. We just don't always have it on a Friday morning to get out and do another script.
And it's called The People's Brief.
The People's Brief with Lynae Vanee on Revolt.
Yeah, and you can see there's clips on YouTube as well. You've had some amazing interviews thus far on the show. Who's been one of your favorites?
One of my favorites, I have so many. I actually got the opportunity to bring some of my old professors on to kind of break down some topics with me. So that's been cool.
I like the Stacey Abrams one.
Stacey Abrams, yes.
Just so powerful.
We most recently did a special with her. Roy Wood Jr. I had Pastor Jamal Bryant on there recently. Sam J.
And Roy has a new book coming out too.
Roy does have a new
Check
book.
his
So
new book.
I had Don Lemon most recently as well. These last few episodes are really great, guys. A really
Y'all missing
fun
out.
time.
Y'all better hurry up and go check them out.
And actually, for our finale, I'm giving you a sneak peek because obviously we record well before it's put out. I got to sit down with the children of some living legacies. So the children of Al Sharpton, Ozzie Davis and Ruby Dee, Dick Gregory, and just talk to them about what it was like to be the child of such an icon and the type of things that they experienced. And they also spoke to just how much it was necessary. We had a comedian represented, we had an activist represented, and we also had Hollywood royalties and musicians, and how all of them would work in tandem with one another to uplift community. So it was a really amazing experience. So the show does a number of things. The mission is to make sure people feel empowered, have vocabulary, have tools, have resources, understand what's affecting their community. It's been a little bit of a struggle in trying to figure out how to produce evergreen content that has to be pre-shot and also feel current. And also make sure people feel like we're meeting the moment. And we're figuring it out as we go. But it also allows for us to just bridge gaps in spaces and have conversations with a lot of really cool people. So I'm grateful.
But one of the things that I like the show, it doesn't just talk about the problem, it also talks about solutions. So we know there's a lot of problems out there, but let's talk about some of the solutions and what we can do in the room and some of the people, just in terms of some of the things we're seeing in our communities and the administration that's happening now, some of the shutdowns that are happening. Is there anything that you think we can do as a community, as an individual, to help?
Talk to your neighbors. And I say that as someone who likes to come home and not be bothered by anybody. But we are reaching a point where we quite literally have to be in connection and relationship with the person next door. Because you never know what you're gonna need and when you're gonna need it. And I'm not trying to fear monger at all, because at this point, I can't be afraid every day. Like there's bad news coming through my phone to me from multiple different directions every single day. And I am being delusional. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm being absolutely delusional because I feel like you have to be in the collapse of society to imagine a new one. And I think that's the opportunity that we have here. But with all that said, there are so many different threats to the way we live our lives normally, or the ways that we have in the past few decades. And I will say, you guys can nod in agreement. I'm only 30. Some of you guys have been here much longer than me and have seen several terrible leaders, maybe not to this extent on American soil, but you've seen a lot of things and seen society ebb and flow. So we're just at one of those inflection points. But I say all of that to say this particular inflection point has us buying power banks and emergency lamps and candles and all sorts of things, has us stocking up at the grocery store.
I just built a bunker. No, I'm just kidding.
I was about to say, must be nice.
I was thinking about it, though.
You know, those of us who can build bunkers are building bunkers. But you just never know when you're going to need your next door neighbor. And I think that's one part of it. But also, again, we have an opportunity to change the way that we do things, because we leave canvassing up to politicians when they're ready to run for something. When people are out knocking on doors, trying to assess needs, or at least inform you on who's running. And I've been telling politicians the same thing. Y'all got to stop doing that. You need to have a fish fry and don't ask nobody for nothing. Just get to know people and consistently do that sort of work. So it's not So it's not really a question, and not for just the sake of you've been there, you've been in the seat for the longest, like this person is ingrained in community, but we can canvas as well. And I think it will have to start with the leads of different nonprofits and communities and things like that. But even as individuals, kickbacks, movie nights, cookouts, whatever, that you then commandeer and make sure everybody is aware of the current situation and asking them what they need. Because I also think, as we're thinking about economic pushback, people are talking about not doing Christmas this year, which I think is a great idea. People are talking about general strikes. Everybody can't do that. But the people who want to participate, and even people who are on the fence, what do they need to feel secure to do that? And I'm asking you to talk to your neighbors and not just talk to people online, because we got to localize these efforts for them to be impactful, for them to be stronger. I will also say that in our efforts to try to get these things done, we want to think about numbers, but we need to be thinking about impact more. And someone on the internet, I saw the video in passing. Don't you hate when you see a video, then it refreshes and you loses it, you can't save it, you go back to it? So I don't know the woman who said this, but she really encouraged me with this. She said, what most people don't realize is that the vast majority of Americans did not participate in the civil rights movement. But just enough did. And all we need is enough. Just enough. And everybody doesn't have to do everything.
Well, my problem is there's so many people who are saying that no, not everybody has to do anything, so I'm going to just sit here and be quiet. If you're being silent, then you're part of the problem. Mm-hmm. You have to speak up on your part, do your part, do what you can, because everybody can do something. And even if you're afraid, you can donate to someone who is doing their part, who is doing the fighting on the front line. So don't feel like there's nothing you can do. If you disagree with something, speak up. If you disagree with something, align yourself with an organization that is speaking up for those efforts. And I know it was said earlier in the earlier panel about leave us alone, and just for the clarification, they may have clarified it afterwards already, but for me, the leave me alone is leave us alone if you're going to cause problems, if you're going to bring trouble, if you're going to bring dissension in the community.
Or if you're just going to be a negative Nancy.
Right, that's that part. But I think we got to keep remembering this is the United States of America. Our unity is our power. Being unified is what they're afraid of. I mean, ever since slavery, ever since before then, in order to separate a community, in order to have a dictatorship, in order to do all these things, you have to divide the people. So the more divided we are, the easier we fall. So that's why I always say to unify yourselves, come together, talk to your neighbors, be a community, and unite on whatever fight you're going to take part in. Do it with others and do it on a united front. But
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
So do that. Get busy, y'all. There's something for everybody to do out here. So I would like, we talked earlier about the misinformation. What are some of the sources that you go to, or your go-to sources to get information?
Yeah, so like I said, I have a couple of colleagues like Elizabeth Booker Squared, Consciously, Deontay Kyle, Rayshonda Elias even, Here's Why Kevin, Midas Touch, Aaron Parnas. Aaron Parnas has a breaking news update every 30 seconds. Hate that for that young man. But also as far as like publications, AP News, the 19th, getting slim, because I'm trying to remember, but those are the two that always come to the top of mind. I'm losing more sources, like it seems like by the day, but AP News for sure. Midas Touch is a publication, and then the 19th news source that is it's non-biased, but it basically covers like news that affects women and femmes, which also affect everybody. So that.
Okay. And there were some questions that were given to us I want to make sure we get to. One of them was, how do you hold both pride in the progress and anger and our continued inequities without losing hope or focus?
I know who my God is.
Hey,
that's
sorry.
That's the answer that just comes off the top of the head, because that's where I have to be right now to just maintain my sanity. But I also know that other people have been here before. What's his name? Edgar Albert Guest. He has a poem called "See It Through." There's a line that says, "Remember, you are facing just what other men have met." And as I get enlightened in my process, I quite literally am like, oh, Angela Davis said this at one point in time, or Bell Hooks said this, or I read this years ago in Company River Collective, their book that they have, How We All Get Free. But I say all that to say, we can read, you know, advice has been given to us, and we just have to take it. We have to adapt it to the times, and not let fear be the determining factor of how we respond to it, because danger is real, but fear is it's a bodily response that dictates how you're going to respond to it. So that's why I said I'm delusional right now. I'm just out here moving around. I'm doing my best. I'm continuing to put my best foot forward. I'm encouraging other people to do the same, because the reality that we are in only exists because we've let it. The reality that we're in only exists because the people who have had the monopoly on governing society keep reinventing it the same way every time, which includes some group of people, likely the most dark-skinned on the bottom, suffering the most now that racism isn't cool, just really putting that class pressure and sucking the juice out of the middle class and criminalizing poverty, you know? So again, I also feel that the worse it gets, the closer we are to something good. And that's hard to manage, because I'm like, okay, God, how much worse? It seems like it can get down in the gutter, but that is the optimism that fuels me. Like, what am I supposed to be learning here? And I've been saying this since I sat down. I feel like this is the biggest learning experience for the entire country that we have ever had. And this is the test of, we're on the 250-year anniversary. I think I'm skipping to a question, but here we are. We're on the 250-year anniversary of this nation, and this is the test for us to actually live up to the name United States of America. You know? This room is so diverse. I live in Atlanta. I don't get to see this many not black people. I was actually wondering where y'all were hiding the black people when I got here. But this is the time for us to put everything they've given us to the side and build an America that allows us to quite literally see one another and not just see what we can get for ourselves. And I'm excited to see what that is. Like, that's what fuels me.
How do we get to that place of building that? Are there steps that we can partake in to help build that? I
think so. I keep talking around it, but mutual aid is the big, like, kicker. Whether it is community gardens, whether it is women's groups, making sure, like, families are taking care of, like, children, like, and that's why they wanted the Black Panthers out of there. Because of the children's breakfast programs, because of not just like self-defense, but because of all the ways the community was coming to aid itself and no longer needing to lean on the federal system. And it might mean just like a change in lifestyle, a sacrifice of what's convenient for you and what makes you comfortable.
And then because when you are leaning on the federal system, then they can say, well, we're going to take it away.
Absolutely.
And we've seen it happening. Quite literally,
absolutely. So it's building the infrastructure to not need that anymore. And to the point earlier about misinformation, let's see how many schools pop up. How education moves differently in the years to come. How science is going to move differently, because they told me that you guys have been seeing the effects of climate change here with your tree season and your snow season as well. We've got a rainy season now down in Atlanta. It's crazy work over there. But yeah, everything's about to shift and change because we're going to have to take the power back.
Yeah, and I like the part about reading, because they say if you want to hide something from someone, put it in a book. My wife, and they said, we're taking books out of the schools, we're taking books off the shelves. My wife was going around buying up. I was like, babe, we don't need any more books. We got to get them before they remove them. So she was like, they're going to be in our house. So
I have a funny story.
All of them.
I may or may not have brought a ghost in my house trying to do the same thing.
A ghost.
Very interesting story. I was on this
Casper, friendly? Or we talking?
We don't know. The Gullah priestess called said it was cool.
You might get some oils. I bind it in the name of Jesus. Get some, okay, sorry.
No, I've been on this kick of just trying to be sustainable with my shopping and decorating my home. And it's harder for me because I'm such a stickler for wanting to feel like myself. I've literally lived in my apartments with nothing on my walls for years because I didn't necessarily want to buy like AI art of like Black people. Like I wanted like real art, but I don't got real art money yet.
Well.
So I've started antique shopping and found a lot of really amazing pieces that finally feel like me, not simply like Afro-centric pieces, but feel like African American. I came across this really beautiful restored poster from the Harlem Dance Theater in 1990, and I've got that hanging up in my home. Anyway, came across this photo that a lot of people in this room probably have seen. It was a Black Union soldier from the Civil War. And I was like, this picture looks really sad, but I feel like if I leave it here, like it won't be preserved, so I'm gonna take it home with me. Then my house started making noises. The noises have since stopped. I also returned the photo. I said, somebody else can have this picture, because I don't need whatever this is in my house. But yes, I agree with your wife on that part. Get the things, like preserve the things, because that's gonna be left up to us as well.
Wow. That's cool. See, I would have wanted to talk to him.
Just
like,
pay attention to the energy you feel, like off rip.
Right, okay. Well, you know, we got only 5 minutes left, and I think it's important as the 6th great grandson of Thomas Jefferson and Sally Hemings that, you know, we all have heard those words. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their creator to certain unalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. However, it's interesting that when he wrote that, he wasn't talking about half of the people in this room. More than half of the people in this room, if I look around, land-owning white men is who he were talking about there. Not women, not people of color, land-owning white men. So therefore, it makes you think about what we can do to bring those words to life today and a new representation of those words 250 years later. So what would New Age Declaration of Independence, or even some would even dare say the Black Declaration of Independence look like to you? Or what would some of the words be included in that?
It's crazy because the words are there. All men are created equal. And I think that's the long and short of it. It's just committing to that belief and understanding.
But then again, today, you might be like, oh, men, women, other, then you know, the list could go on.
Sure. All people are created equal.
All humans.
All human beings are created equal. Right. Amen. Hallelujah. But I also understand the desire for something to come from us in saying that. And I feel like, you know what? I feel like a Black Declaration of Independence, and I want to preface this by saying that I understand Black people are not the only people who exist in America, that we make up 14% of the population, but America would not exist without us. That's just point blank, period.
Let's go.
We also didn't ask to be here. Y'all stole us, plopped us here, and we figured it out anyway. We thrive in so many, like, I love Black people so bad. And I don't have to get into a tirade about it because we have 2 minutes now. But I think whatever our new Declaration of Independence will have to say, if Black people had a very particular input, it would be that this country has to recognize our impact and recognize its atrocities to us, full stop. That's it. We want rights for everybody, and I feel like that's what most of us have been saying. Some of us have been saying we want to leave. Unfortunately, some of us have been so affected by white supremacy that we've adopted Black supremacy and white supremacy and blackface. And I'm not with any of that, but for the most part, when you solve Black people's problems, you solve everybody's problems. When you solve Black women's problems specifically, you solve the world's problems. And that's it. That's all we've been trying to say, but what that should let you know is that the people who are up top don't want anybody's problems to be solved but their own.
And I think it's up to everybody in this room to empower yourselves to be part of that solution, to be able to make those words ring true today. You're the only one standing in your way from making sure your neighbor feels that they're equal to you and that you can provide that atmosphere of equality within your community. It could be, I tell people, it could be as simple as when someone tells an off-color racist joke or something like that, you not laugh. You tell them that's inappropriate, you don't think that's right, just confronting it right there, full stop, in that situation, and you will start to affect people one by one. So people are always making it more harder than it has to be. You know, do as Jesus did and love thy neighbor. It's pretty simple. And then get to a point where, yeah, it may not change the world at that moment, but that small ripple can spread out and touch the world eventually. So I just think it is important for all of us to be able to do our part and not just stay silent or not feel that you are not big enough or strong enough or capable enough to do something, that we all are part of this together. So, well, thank you guys so much for your attention today. We appreciate you guys. I know we may have some questions out there. So we have a mic going around, and raise your hand if you have a question. 2 mics out there, so raise your hand and we'll get to you. But we appreciate you guys being, there we go.
Is it on?
Yes, sir.
One thing was mentioned that Lynae mentioned, it has to get worse to get better. And we were talking about that is actually a very true statement. I mean, even the current situation with the shutdown, I do think that yes, it's hurtful to a lot of people financially, but I think before compromising to solve a situation just to end up never working in the favor. And I mean, even in the days of, you talk about Hitler days, it had to get worse for Germany to change. So things almost, you have to kind of someone has to expose themselves, because a first Trump term, he had people around him who kind of was tamer. This time, people are bolder and they really let the real Trump come out. So I do think that statement you made is very on point.
It is, yeah. I think too, I know it wasn't much of a question, but thank you for adding that. One thing I think about a lot right now is the story about Paul and the thorn in his side, and how we asked for it to be removed 3 times, and the response was like, I got you talking to me more. Like you're looking to me for leadership and direction and all these things. And just so the thorn isn't being removed from our side, because there are some habits we've got to develop in order to get it out of the situation. Yeah.
Another question in the corner there.
Hello, everyone. Vanee Kuumba, and really just appreciate the energy that y'all brought out. Like when you came in and you were dancing with the music, and just like culturally, it was like really impressive how you all kind of came together and then like shared all your thoughts succinctly. So I appreciate that. I wanted to like ask about power, and thinking about like how we're talking about how power moves. And throughout the day, there's been a lot of like really powerful Black voices on the stage, and people talking about like how they've come into the positions that they're in, from like being activists and like pushing against things, and then now you're on a city commission or doing these other things, or now you're a voice on revolt, like going from being like a teacher in the schools. And so just like thinking about in the history of this country, the way that the country has treated folks who are resistant, you know, like they will, you know, they'll try to execute you, they'll try to kill you, they'll try to like discredit you, or they'll promote you. They'll put you in a position of power, they'll give you money, they'll give you a seat at the table, they'll give you a corner office. And so my question for you both is like, how do you still stay grounded in your community, in your culture, and not get co-opted, and your message co-opted to the corporatists or the capitalists who stand to benefit from using your voice?
That's a good one. I took control back over. I left the corporate world and created my own, became an entrepreneur, and now I know they said in the bio, I'm still at some of the news outlets, but creating my own news outlet, if you will, to get my own voice, opinions, a way that no one else can dictate over and control. So I think a lot of that is having our own and creating our own. We talked about, you know, a little bit earlier, and having your own, you know, stores and doctors and schools in your communities. You know, having your own is power. So, you know, that
And I think just making sure you value that over whatever the other offer is, because once you commit to that, that's where the power like actually comes from. Like you have, for instance, I have the influence over 900,000 people. And some of those are bots, who knows, who cares? But my commitment to that and to them and always telling them the truth is what gives me the influence that other people wanting to work with me are like seeking. And so I'm not gonna ever sacrifice that or jeopardize my integrity to do anything that is not for the welfare and well-being of that audience. And so for some people, I think it's just one of those things it's not taught, like it's just gotta be in you. You gotta appreciate that value more than the alternative and just be like, you know, horse blinders on about that sort of thing. But the other part is I think you have to be vigilant because sometimes the wolf comes in sheep's clothing and it may seem like a great opportunity or just a space for you to expound in this area. And then once you're in it, you hear there are these stipulations. And my biggest thing is the moment that it feels weird is the moment that you should stop.
Red flag, red flag.
Yeah.
And staying in the community also helps. You know, you talk about
Yep.
staying grounded. My family will knock me back down quick if I get a big head. They will bring you down. So staying in your family, in your community, your church, you know, they help you stay grounded and connected to the voice of the people also. When people start getting away from the people they're serving, that's when they start to lose that voice. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
You better project.
She's running to you. Good job. It's on.
Has any contemporary black Afro-American artist influenced you, a visual artist influenced you in any way, had an effect on you in the last few years?
A visual artist?
Visual artist.
Beyonce's last visual album. I mean, that was hot. That was hot.
I'm thinking of like Amy Sherrill.
I gotta tell you, it's not a medium I'm super well versed in, like to like know names. I think really this era, and to your point of what Beyonce did with her last visual album, I just think even with like something Kendrick did at the Super Bowl, we're creating visual art in different mediums and ways to like make points and make commentary. So I just think this time right now is very against the grain. It's very brass tacks. It's very unapologetic. And those things are influencing me. I feel in community with people putting other art or just contributions out to society, and especially with social media, there's just so many different ways to create art and consume it. But at this moment, no, I don't know a name.
Oh, I got a few that I went to an art show recently. Kehinde Wiley, obviously, always amazing. You know, I interviewed him like 10, 15 years ago, and I could have got one of his works for like $5,000. I was like, oh, it's so much. I can't even afford to look at them now. Them things are so expensive. I should have got one. But a few, Woodrow Nash, he's a sculptor. He does some great work. Just stunning. Calvin Coleman was another one. Kendele John, I think I'm saying that right. And then Charlie Palmer. Those are a few that I was like, oh, I want to get some of their works, you know. So, but very inspiring. And then I like stuff that also tells a story. It makes you just stare at the thing until you just get stuck in thought on it. But that's just me. So, any last question? I think we have two more questions, maybe.
I will also say there was, I don't remember her name right now, but what was the name of their exhibit? Alicia Keys and Swiss Beats? Oh, yeah. They've got all of them in there. If you get that book from their exhibit, the artists in there are doing all of the work, yeah.
Oh,
I first want to say thank you for your work.
Thank you.
I'm a historian and a historical interpreter, and your work came around a very good time, a hard time, but a very good time, and it spoke directly to me, and it gave me courage in a time when it was a lot. So thank you for that, even though I was
Thank you.
Just another number out there, but when you were speaking to us, collectively us, I felt that.
Thank you.
So some of my content has fell onto the wrong side of the internet recently.
Oh, God.
And, you know, I've experienced quite a bit. I've lectured and had actual white supremacist groups show up to my lectures and scream at me. So, like, that was in person. But it's been very interesting having my content land on the wrong side. And how do you power through it? You probably know very intimately what it is like to have thousands of...
So I actually don't get Instagram notifications anymore. Does it make me habitually tap on the app to just make sure I haven't missed anything? Like, yes. But I don't get comment notifications to my phone. I also put in keywords that I don't want to see. I can also turn off my comment section when I want to. I can also fast when I need to. And I've learned that fasting from the internet, like, it's a tool. Like, don't let anyone make you feel like you're weaker or not able to withstand something because you choose to withdraw. We're not supposed to be exposed to that much of anything on a regular basis. Like, we're human beings. We're supposed to be touching grass outside, and now, like, all of a sudden we're on our phones. And the other thing is recognizing that a few things are happening here. These people don't know you. These people do not have the education that you have. These people are intent upon hurting you, and that is the only result that they are looking for. They are not there to be productive. And so they're just quite literally running their mouth, and you don't have to interact with it. I think for people who are higher profile, sometimes we can put a timer on how long we're gonna withdraw because, you know, things like die over, but to some people are just trolls and they wanna keep coming back and doing the things. Keep blocking those people and protect your peace, because they quite literally don't matter. You're doing great work and they wish to discourage you. And so part of what keeps me motivated is knowing that nobody's gonna get the drop on me. Nobody's gonna stop me from doing this work, because the work is what matters the most. And the people who are receiving it and benefiting from it, that value trumps their negative opinion. And most of all, even people who enjoy your content, nobody understands your calling and what work you've had to put into it and what you've been asked to do. So even people, some of the worst things for me that have hurt my feelings is when people may have followed me for a long time and then I'll say something and then they say that, oh, I was such a supporter of your work. It disheartens me that you have said this and I can't believe you said, I don't give up. And it's not so much that I don't, it just hurts my feelings because I have so much to give and I do truly love and care about the people that I'm trying to speak life into, but also that person put an expectation on you that you never committed to. And so you're not responsible to it. Yeah.
Yeah, and let it be your motivation, because if you weren't doing important work that threatens their well-being, then they wouldn't have anything to say. So I feel like that's just proof that you're doing the right thing, because if you weren't a threat, then they wouldn't have anything to say. So keep doing it. And we have one last question. Oh, I'm sorry. They're giving us signs back there.
Thank y'all so much for being here. Your content got me through COVID. Thank you so much. I'm a public education teacher. Me and my bestie teach at West High School here in Manchester. Most all my students are POC. I teach ESOL. So what would you say, my students couldn't be here, my BSU students could not be here today. They will be here next year, best believe. Okay. But what would you tell them, equip them with to get them through what is gonna be a rough couple of years? Like, I started off my year doing a Know Your Rights training with all my students because I had a student detained weeks before school started. What do you give them to keep them going? Because there's not a lot out there that's keeping them going. Yeah, so I don't know what my question is, but yeah.
I mean, it sounds cheesy, and I'm thinking of a very specific example. I was sitting with Fred Hampton Jr. on a panel. Crazy. Sounds and looks just like his daddy. It was almost like, we sure this is not Fred? But he spoke about how we know, have you guys seen Judas and the Black Messiah? If you have not, you should watch it. It's an amazing film about how the FBI turned, I don't even think he was a part of the organization at first. He was just some guy trying to get in on what the Black Panther movement in Chicago was doing and spy on Fred Hampton. But that was when Fred Hampton was 21. The FBI started spying on Fred Hampton when he was 14 years old. tapping his phones because he was organizing communities as a teenager. So Fred Hampton's story does not end well, so I don't know if that's the story you want to tell your children, but you are never too young to make an impact, and you are never too young to change the course of history. And whatever it is they have to contribute is necessary, like the butterfly effect, all of these things, every single thing that a person does in this room impacts the flow of society. And I would urge them to be good people. And by good people, I mean considerate of people who do not look like them, who do not come from where they come from, even if, because you said you teach ESOL, and so I know those students are going through a very particular experience. Another thing that helps me get through is understanding that a lot of these people who are buying into the system, like people who sign up to work for ICE, they also have a very particular experience. They've also been fed particular things, and or they have a situation to where this power makes sense to them and does something for them. So understanding motivations helps you draw back and see what the actual issues are instead of focusing so much on how things make you feel, right? I think how things make you feel absolutely do matter, but sometimes they do obfuscate what the actual root of the issue is. And sometimes those emotions and the immediate feeling of a particular encounter create so much chaos for people with long-standing trauma and impact that we never get back to the root. So teaching them to hold space for two things and how to process them.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, the famous quote, "Be the change you want to see in the world." This is the opportunity and the chance, especially with social media. Social media is the new front line. You can be on social media from your home and start a revolution. So this is an opportunity for them, because they're so good at that social media stuff, to really be the voice of change and to follow that advice. So, no, thank you. And thank you guys so much for your attention today. And let's give it up for Lynae one more time, everybody. Woo!
Thank you guys, thank you so much for having me.
If you're not, follow her right now, okay? Get out your phones. Follow her today. And don't forget to watch her on Revolt, The People's Brief. Thank you so much. And I wasn't fair to the tea. The tea actually ended up being good. I just like a lot of sugar, but it smells good. I was like, oh, it smells good. I just need sugar, that's all. But it is actually good. So I didn't want to be a hater on the tea.
Thank you. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Whoa, okay. I had to get another whoa in there. Okay, I have done a number of these Black New England conferences, and I was like, oh, you can't top the last one. But each year, we just take it to another level. So can you once again give it up for our keynote and our monetary? Woo. What an extraordinary day this has been in a world that so often tries to box young people in, to tell them who they are, what they can be, and how far they can go. Our presenters today, each and every one of them, reminded us that the boxes were never meant for us in the first place. We had so many mic drop moments. I got like 10 of them, and I know Jerry is like, nope, I'm not gonna let you do them, so okay.
It's okay.
She said it's okay.
This is, by the way, this is our president.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was so excited, I didn't even introduce myself, thank you. So I am Shari Robinson, and I have the honor and privilege of serving as the board president for the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire. I just got so excited. So just a few mic drop moments. Wow, I got so many of them. I will go wherever the movement will need me. That's an opportunity for us to take personal, individual responsibility, right? So many good stuff. If you control the story/narrative, You never have to fix the structure. Okay, so we need to become our own storytellers. That's where the power is. I'm not gonna go through them all, I promise you. We have to be at the tables leading and creating the jobs. And then I'm gonna connect that to Black wealth. I'm at a point in my life, you all, I'm proud of my age. I'm 59, will be 60 in 2 months. I look good. Thank you. You see grace. But I'm all about creating Black wealth right now, right? And I have to leave the man the structure to do that. And I have a mindset, so I wanna, it's not all about being on a job 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Step out and dare to do something different. I love what this younger generation is doing. They're not taking the traditional pathways anymore. They're doing their thing. So you are inspiring me, okay? And you're never too young or seasoned to change. I don't use that other word.
Thank you for calling me the younger generation. Thank you. Amen.
Oh, stop it. Okay. We live our freedom every single day. So we walk in these shoes, and nobody can understand it better than us, which goes back to no one else can tell our story, no one else can tell our narrative better than us, more impactful than we can. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Okay. So they are breaking down barriers, building bridges, and creating entirely new spaces where Black folks can imagine, innovate, and flourish. They are the CEOs who never forget where they come from, never get disconnected to those communities, whether it's the family, the church, the neighborhoods. They are the creators who refuse to be silenced, and the entrepreneurs who turn their gifts into purpose with a passion that uplifts entire communities. And that's what we were given today. That's what we were able to witness. So we bear witness today that we heard from so many extraordinary people that are uplifting entire communities. Their story reminds us that the state of our union, our Black union, is one of resilience, brilliance, and boundless creativity. We can't be stopped. On behalf of the Board of Directors of the Black Heritage Trail of New Hampshire, I want to extend our heartfelt thanks to our remarkable presenters, so give it up. Our tireless volunteers, dedicated staff, and fellow board members. Give it up. And our generous partners at Southern New Hampshire University. Thank you. We also want to thank our major sponsors. It takes money, it takes resources. Eversource, TD Bank, New Hampshire Charitable Foundation, Give Black Alliance, Delta Dental, Episcopal Church of New Hampshire, UNH Center for Humanities, for their steadfast support, and of course, all of you who got up on a Saturday, right? It was like cold this morning. You got up on a Saturday, you got dressed, did hair, makeup, looked beautiful, drove to be a part of community. So give it up for yourself.
Madam President, can I just make an added note? I hope you guys are listening to the sponsors. They're probably in your program. Look at those. Put your money in the community that's helping you. Withhold your money from those that are not supporting you.
Good point.
That is how you make a difference also, economically. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sponsors.
Thank you, sponsors, and keep it coming. As we leave here today, may we carry forward the inspiration, the wisdom, and the challenge we heard to continue breaking barriers. building a future where every generation of Black storytellers, entrepreneurs, and visionaries can thrive. Thank you, and we'll see you next year.
So thank you, Madam President. And can we just have an applaud for our president? This is probably her last public event as president. Thank you. I have the easy part of just closing us out. Thank you. I also want to just thank New Hampshire Public TV. They ran some ads for us, and complimentary ads supporting our organization. And they're here today. And New Hampshire Public Radio also did the same thing. So support our public TV and our public radio stations as well. Please take a moment, if you're not following us on our newsletters, sign up for our newsletter, sign up for our social media, and join us for online and everything. Next year, we start our 2026 Pro Eleanor William Hooker T-Series, Echoes of Power, the Tradition of African American Oratory. And so just sign up, just see us, continue to be with us for the work that we do, and we thank you all for being here. Thank you so much. Oh, please, take a moment to fill out those survey cards. It's really important for us to gather data, how you feel about the program, so we can continue to be offering these programs to you. Thank you. There is some time for you guys to network, play some music, enjoy some music, dance together, finish the food that's here, and enjoy. Thank you.